Hi, this is TheHande and welcome to another tier list video. And today, I will be ranking all, or at least almost all, of the slice of life anime that I have ever watched. It seems like every single time I do one of these tier list videos, I end up making an overlong introduction. So I'm going to put a time code right here if you want to jump into the part of the video where I'm, actually ranking stuff, because there's a long introduction. Why am I making this video? What are the different tiers? And what even classifies as a slice of life anime? And I'm going to go through all of that here in the introduction. I'm sorry, it's probably going to take a while. So again, if you don't want to stick around for that, then fine, I don't mind if you want to skip into the tier list part, into the actual ranking part. Okay, so let's start with what is a slice of life anime and why do I watch so much slice of life anime? Because I will say that these days, if I watch anime, it will almost certainly be either a full slice of life anime or it will at least have a slice of life feeling to it. So I'm kind of an old school anime guy. I started watching some of the first animes that I ever watched were stuff like Ginga Nagare Boshigin, Magic Knight Ray Earth, and then Dragon Ball Z when that was airing on Finnish television. I never really got on the Naruto or Bleach hype train. Those series just never really interested me. And over time, as I watched more and more anime, and really in the last couple of years, I've kind of come to this sort of depressing conclusion about anime, which is that most anime is made to fill a time slot in Japanese television. And this manifests itself in something that is really frustrating for me, which is the fact that I would watch an anime series. I would get really attached to all the characters and really invested in the storyline. And after 12 or 21 episodes, however long that season ended up being, the series ends. There's no second season. That's it. And so, in the worst case scenario, sometimes the storyline is left completely without any kind of conclusion. That's really frustrating. And me realizing that so many anime are really made with that mindset that the animation studios, they're not really doing it for any artistic purpose. They don't do it because they care if the series ever concludes or anything. Like I said, most anime is made to fill a time slot on Japanese television, and that's it. And this is why, once the series concludes its run, that's it. Then the studio usually just moves on to making something else. Now, of course, there are exceptions. Sometimes series do actually become very popular, and then they might get a second season. But because of that very reasoning, that is what has kind of driven my path towards that. If I'm gonna waste my time watching Japanese cartoons, I might as well watch something that has no ongoing storyline and has no story stakes, so that when the series inevitably ends, I don't have to feel bad about the series ending. And that's why slice of life. Okay, so what even is a slice of life anime? That might be something that some people may not be even familiar with. Now, I want to stress here that there are no real definitive genre lines with slice of life. It's a very broad category of anime. One might even argue that it's not even strictly speaking a genre. But one anime that I will be bringing up immediately, which I will say is absolutely slice of life and the only other genre that you could even argue with, is the one where I kind of have to draw a line in the sand. Slice of life, of course, derives all of its content from putting anime characters in very mundane, normal situations, as opposed to the incredible bullshit that anime characters normally, have to face off in all these kind of shonen action sci-fi fantasy shows that, are the bread and butter of, a lot of anime. Because of that, there are also lots of crazy animes that might have slice of life episodes. And Slice of Life definitely overlaps heavily with the rom-coms and just general comedy animes in general. So, what even classifies as a Slice of Life anime? The point is that this distinction of what a Slice of Life anime is one that I just use myself, and people are free to disagree with me. For me, the point of the series has to be that even if it's a comedy series or even if it's a non-comical series, the core content and the reason you watch the show has to derive from the normal, mundane setting, whatever it is. Spoiler alert, a lot of these are going to be set in high schools, because most anime is set in high schools for some goddamn reason. There are, luckily, a bunch that aren't, and I always find that a breath of fresh air, as I'm sure most other people do. And you know, there can be a semblance of an ongoing storyline in this series, but that's not a disqualifying trait if that is the case. It is not, you know, something that, you know, will stop a series from getting on the list. Now, the genre which Slice of Life overlaps the hardest with is the anime romantic comedy, or rom-coms, and that is where I've kind of drawn one end of the line in regards to what gets included here. So a rom-com, if the purpose of the anime is a romantic storyline, which then that is a point at which where I draw a line in the sand and say, no, this is not a pure Slice of Life, that this crosses into rom-com territory. And this is an important distinction because unfortunately, there was a lot of anime that which I potentially considered including here, but ultimately decided against it because, you know, the reason I watch those animes is also because of the romantic subplot. Now, this does not mean that a Slice of Life anime isn't allowed to have any romance in it. That's not the thing. Like, there can absolutely be a romantic subplot between two characters bubbling in the background. The point is that it cannot be the end-all point of this series. But that's why I'm excluding series like My Senpai is Annoying, Uzaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. And one that I really hated that I have to disallow is because, you know, in almost every sense it could have qualified as a recent anime called Okitsuri, or Okitsura, I forget the name. Because it has great slice of life moments, but it is a rom-com. Like, it is absolutely a rom-com. There's no way around it. The other end of the spectrum, and this was actually a much harder line to draw, and I will agree, and I will definitely admit that some of the inclusions, I might have been a little too liberal with the inclusions on this end, but I decided that if the series goes too off the deep end, is like an all-out gag comedy anime, then it couldn't qualify. Then I would not include it on the tier list. And ironically, one such example is School Rumble, and that really hurts me because that's not just one of my favorite animes. That's just one of my favorite shows. Period. And it is also a rom-com. So in order to be consistent with my own rules, I would have had to disallow it anyway. But I always say that as a rom-com, School Rumble is more com than rom. And the comedy just goes so off the deep end sometimes that, you know, I just cannot in good conscience include it. And that's why that Deer anime, the one that became a meme, I completely, I'll throw in the picture so that you know which one I'm talking about. Okay, we're almost done with the introduction. Very quickly, what are the tiers this time? Originally, I wanted to have text here because I don't like using the letter grades because they don't mean anything to me. And just like with the Paul W. Sanderson tier list that I did, just recently, I decided that the tiers, that there shouldn't be too many tiers this time around, because there are very few slice of life anime that I absolutely dislike, and that's what the bottom rank is really for. So at the top here, I included these pictures, and they're probably gonna tell you like which certain anime where they're gonna end up based on this. But the first one is Hello Every Nyan. So that's the top tier. That's where all the peak slice of life anime goes. Next is Saga Andagi. That's the thing. The character is called Osaka, and Sada Andagi is the little treat that she's holding. So this is like a good. This is like good slice of life shit in my view. It's not excellent, but it's like it's very nice, like time wasting anime, and that's where I put those. Next we have Akarin, and you could. I hate that I said that I put the food one up top because I was about to say that this is kind of like comfort food, slice of life. So, but really this is the mid territory. So slice of life anime that isn't excellent and doesn't have anything outstanding about it. So basically, slice of life anime that I don't have strong feelings for, but I could recommend for people who like slice of life anime. That's what goes in the Akarin camp. And then the last one, now this is a deep cut from years ago, and I'm sad that I couldn't find the exact image. So that's Ed with 1D from Ed, Ed, and Eddie. There is a super old video of somebody doing a one-sentence review of the movie, the Studio Ghibli movie, Whisper of the Heart, and it's just Ed saying nothing happened. So that's the nothing happened rank. So this is where the few genuinely bad slice of life anime will go. Okay, we're done with the introductions. Let's finally get here. And also, for full disclosure, this is actually my second time doing this. A couple of days ago, I recorded this video, but there was something wrong with my video settings, or I suspect that my rank table was too low resolution, that some of the graphics got very blurry for some reason. I really hope that doesn't happen this time. Okay, so the way I typically like to do these tier lists is that I start with my top favorite, and then my bottom favorite. So what's the best and the absolute worst, and then I like to go and gradually fill out, the rank that way. My favorite slice of life anime of all time, it's of course the first slice of life anime I ever watched, the granddaddy of all slice of life anime. This is Azumanga Daioh. If you've seen that video of my posters, you know that I have the big Azumanga poster in my living room. And this is actually not one of the crazier. This is there's a little bit of crazy comedy periodically, but the craziest shit usually happens in like dream and fantasy sequences. And otherwise, this is just a series that follows these girls' high school lives through the 3 years of Japanese high school. The only really weird element in the whole series is Chio, who's this little girl, who's a 10-year-old who is somehow a 10-year-old child genius who's managed to get into high school. There's great running gags in this. And also, the comic strip, so this was a comic strip originally, was later collected into 4 volumes, and all 4 volumes were released in Finland. So I actually read Azumanga Daioh before I saw the anime. And this was also a big, this was a popular anime to riff on in the very early YouTube days. There's a lot of super old YouTube videos you can find of Azumanga Daioh. It's highly recommended. If you like slice of life, this is an absolute must-see, an absolute goddamn classic. One of the greats. This is one of the goats of the genre, if you will. And so, absolutely. I mean, these 2 images here, they're both from Azumanga Daioh. That's Osaka. Made the top 10 of my favorite anime characters like a long, long ass time ago. Okay, then for the first of the bottom rank animes, in my opinion, the worst slice of life anime. So, I ran across this anime just randomly on Crunchyroll, and I decided to give it a whirl because it was recommended. And this is like, okay, let me just, okay. So first of all, there was a long time I wasn't even sure what this anime, because I got the feeling that this had a source material that I wasn't familiar with, and I find out that, and I suspected this at the time, and I've kind of sort of confirmed it, that this is apparently based on some kind of a game. I'm not sure what kind of game. Is it like a dating sim or whatever? So the thing with Slice of Lives, and I especially with Azumanga Daioh, has a rich cast of characters. So one of the great things about Slice of Life is that animes, in my opinion, is the fact that they focus on different characters from various episodes. But generally there's a core cast. The important characters usually have, a certain set of episodes that, you get like 5 or 6 episodes for one character, then you get 4 or 5 for another one, and one character maybe has like only a couple of episodes where they focus on them. Well, imagine a series where every single episode has a different main character, and you can't even tell them apart half the time. That's this anime. So I think the brown-haired one in the middle was supposed to be the lead character because she's the one who sings the theme song and everything, but there is nothing. There literally is nothing to this anime. It's just that they do some kind of an activity for the entire episode. There's no comedy, not any kind of conflict. It's a completely formless blob of a series because they put a lot of effort into the design of the various girls. Like all the girls have like very detailed designs and no personality. That's the big problem. And one of the big problems is the fact that, like I said, there's a blonde girl who's a good student. There's a blonde girl who's a French exchange student. I can't tell which of these two it is. I assume maybe the one who's kissing because that's kind of like a French thing. But then there's like third blonde girl who's like the vegan hippie type or whatever. So that's what I'm getting at. This is a series with absolutely nothing going on in it, no character motivations that you can even grasp a hold of, no gags, no jokes, not anything. I watched the whole thing to the end, and nothing happens in any of the episodes. The only episode that I even slightly liked was the one that starred the girl from the journalism club, who was the photography girl, and because she had maybe the slightest, although it was not explicit at all, the slightest little lesbian crush on the librarian girl and wanted to take photos of her or something. And that was it. The rest of the series, there's absolutely nothing to this. And I'm sorry, I felt like I had wasted my time when I watched this. Like don't get me wrong, I can feel that way about, a lot of anime, but this one in particular, this is absolute hot garbage. I have no idea why they felt making this anime was necessary. All right, now I'm thinking about the order. Like, you know what? I actually, since making that first run of this was a series that I was thinking about that I didn't really remember very well. So I actually watched an episode of this to remind myself and to see like if my original rating for it was very accurate. So this is Skullface bookseller Honda-san. So it is about bookstore workers, basically. So that's the premise of this one. And it's nice that we get like something, it's nice that something that isn't high school related. So it is a comedy series, sort of. So it's about the struggles of, working in a bookstore, all the things. And, all the characters, the people who work at the bookstore, none of them have human faces. They all have these masks or something. And then the main character, is shown as a skeleton. There are, like, human characters in the series itself. And, it's fairly relatable. It imbues some real life. It's clearly based on, like, this guy's real life experience working at a bookstore. And, it can be kind of funny. It does have a very unique style of its own. I can't say in good conscience that I felt especially strongly about this anime, but I have watched it all the way to the end. So this goes into the Akarin camp. So this is a good, this is like decently expendable slice of life fluff, and the episodes are only 11 minutes long, so they're not even like full length episodes. So that's another thing that's another feather in its cap. All right, I'm thinking about one that I should put into the Sata Andagi camp, but you know what? There is one that I know I will. So I guess I have to put another top shelf anime out here. So Azumanga Daioh is like the granddaddy of all slice of life anime, but this one I think is the heir apparent. K-On! So K-On launched an entire like subset of slice of life animes all on its own. So the anime is initially about these 4 girls, Yuiritsu, Mugi, and Mio, starting a light music club in their high school, originally not having enough members, and then they also, have to blackmail one of the teachers to be one of the supervisors, and then eventually they get Azunyan in the fold as well. This is a super cute series. It's one of my all-time favorite slice of life animes. There's 2 full seasons of it, and I really wish there was more because I have read the manga, and the manga concludes where the anime concludes, but the author, who I think is it Kaki Fly? I'm not sure, but they made a sequel, a short sequel anime, a short sequel manga comic where it shows what happens. Well, first of all, it shows the girls going to college, but then Azuna having to, form a new K-On! So K-On! Is just means light music club. She has to form a new K-On! When all the girls graduate, and that's a really cute little storyline. I hate the fact that they never animated that. And the animation quality is top notch. I love the personalities of all the girls. If I have one criticism of this series, is that I don't think the music that the girls' band produces is very good. All the good music is in the show's intros and outros, especially the first season end credits theme is fucking amazing. But this is a top shelf anime, and like I said, this spawned an entire subset of anime. So I think we're gonna go off now and knock out all of the K-On! Knockoffs. And listen, just because I say something this is just K-On! That this is K-On! For blah blah blah, I'm not disparaging the anime itself, because the reason they decided to, these different studios started making these knockoffs, was obviously because K-On! Was so big and seriously just a really, really good anime, so that's it. So there are these animes that have like a club that's struggling, and then it like focuses around the club. So, wait a minute, where's the first one? Okay, well, we'll have to start with this one. Anime Yell. This is K-On! For cheerleaders. Pretty much. So, the reason I really liked this series, well, 2 reasons. Number one is the fact that when I watched the first episode, the main cheerleader girl, who inspires the lead character, who's this pink-haired girl, into starting a cheerleader club, is that she looks like Internet Explorer Chan. So there's this webcomic, somebody made all the different web browsers into anime girls, and she even has, Internet Explorer Chan even has this exact same like hairpin. So she inspires the pink-haired girl into starting a cheerleading club. She ropes in her best friend, and then this other shy girl. And the redhead was the only one who also had like cheerleading experience. Now, the most unbelievable thing about this series is that this is taking place in Japan, and this is a Japanese high school. And I assume that Japanese high schools have a lot of students, and you're telling me, and they have like tons of sports clubs in all of these high school animes, and you're seriously asking me to, you're seriously telling me that this school doesn't have enough girls to form a cheerleading squad? What? That's the only unbelievable part about this anime. This goes into the Akarin camp again. This is very mid. This is not a very good anime. I watched it all the way to the end, but I can't say, like, I can't even remember any of the characters' names. Like, as if you can tell. There are cute moments, and this is not a bad anime. The animation quality does dip, from time to time. But yeah, this is a really shameless K-On! Ripoff. They even rip off the coordinated jump off the school stairs, which is in the intro, in the first K-On! Intro, in their show's intro. This is do-it-yourself or DIY. This is K-On! For handsy people. No, I mean people who are good with their hands. This show has amazing animation quality. It is absolutely, top-notch, like aesthetics-wise. And I like the girl, and I like the main cast. The main cast is really cute. And it's because, and I really like all the different little projects that they undertake in this. The only thing that I don't like about, well, there's two things I don't like about this series. One is the main character, by the way, is Serufu. Yes, so the first so they always make some joke about yourself or your Serufu because that's how you would say self in Japanese. But also they always force the series name into every episode. That was a little cheesy. I did not like that. And also, one of the girls is supposed to be an American exchange student, and every time she speaks English in the series, it's just so painfully obvious that no, she is not American. She's clearly just a Japanese voice actress trying to speak English. To be fair, Yukari in Azumanga, who is an English teacher, is pretty bad. But like, she is natively Japanese. Let's at least she has a defense. But like here, this is a really good anime. I don't remember where I ranked it originally, but it's really cute, a lot of fun. I think this is Sata Antaki territory. This is nice little comfort food. Again, this is like really good, and like I said, the animation is just top notch. Even if you don't particularly like the characters, like you have to appreciate how good the animation is. All right, GA. This is K-On! For art people. And this one really, I've read the manga for this one as well, so this does come pretty close to having a very similar vibe. Yes, because this was a strip manga as well, so it was in strip format. And I do like them. I do like the aesthetics and how cute all the girls are. It bothers me that the main girl's glasses always seem like they're just falling off her tiny nose. I do not know what purpose these glasses serve. It does not look like she should be able to see anything with them. So, but GA is definitely closer to Animael quality-wise. Like, this is a fun anime. It's a cute anime. It's very chill. There's not a whole lot to it. It's kind of it's kind of one-dimensional. So. Yeah, so it's not one of my all-time favorites. Oh, sorry. What am I thinking? I skipped one. Sorry. Asobase. Okay, this may not necessarily count as a K-On! Knockoff as such, but it does have that same kind of setup where it's a club in a high school, where all kinds of shenanigans happen. So, but this is actually kind of like a separate trope. It's the time-wasting club, which is like its own little subset inside Slice of Life. This episode is buck wild. It's absolutely fucking crazy. It's a little gross at times as well, so it does not shy away from like gross out comedy either. Like, let me just put it this way: you gotta check out a few random Asobase clips, and that will inform you whether or not you want to commit yourself to actually watching this, because, like I said, it goes pretty extreme in places. But I like it. I absolutely adore it. I think, yes, my favorite character in this is actually complete side character. They're the girls in the occult club, and the club president is just such a super cute. She even wears like a little witch hat, which I thought was really super cute. But then, like I said, there's some pretty there's kind of disturbing things in it as well. It goes like off the rails pretty heavily. This one is just barely slice of life. This is one of those series that is kind of testing the limit, and some people might feel that me calling it slice of life is a bit maybe not necessarily accurate. But I think it's because the comedy at least always starts from a real place. It can get a little gross and over the top at times, but it stays more or less realistic. Okay, so and here's the final one. I think this is the last one of the K-On! Copycats. Yes, so Laid Back Camp. So there's 2 seasons of this, and there's also a little mini in between series. And this is K-On! For camping people. Again, fantastic animation quality. I really like the characters. I think they're super cute. And it does imbue you with some like practical information about camping. I thought that was really cute. One of my favorite little details are all the little pine cones. That the pine cones talk in this. Every single time a pine cone shows up, it goes konnichiwa. It's super cute. Now I don't think this is top tier anime, and I don't think I don't feel confident putting it in the top tier anyway, just because I haven't watched it all the way to the end. But I do like this a lot. This is Sata Antaki territory again. Really, really solid anime in my opinion. All right, so we did talk about Asobi Asobase was a kind of a borderline case for an inclusion of slice of life. So I think that's what I want to do next. I want to talk about a couple that just barely qualify in my opinion. And I'm going to start with this one. This one was the one that I had the most amount of qualms about including. It's not the only one that I had some difficulties, but Zombieland Saga. Okay. The premise of this one's pretty buck wild, so strap in. It's about a guy who's not in this picture, but he's this douchebag in sunglasses. Somehow has a collection of zombies. A bunch of these women and girls who have died and become zombies, and he tries to turn them into an idol group. In the first episode, only the main girl has her personality when she's resurrected, and everybody else is acting like zombies. But then in the second episode, all the other ones just sort of like wake up and they have all their like memories and stuff. Except Tai-chan. Tai-chan she still acts like a zombie, and it's super hilarious. So this definitely has a supernatural setup, because zombies aren't real, of course. But it is sort of slice of life, because its comedy is kind of derived from the mundane nature of actually trying to promote this kind of idol group and all the struggles that come along with it. There is, of course, a little bit of exploration into the backstory of all the girls, and that's the reason why I was, especially in the second season, it gets a bit heavy. So that's where I was having some difficulties thinking, like, issues with, is this really slice of life at this point if it's getting like this, like, serious? And then they have like the whole flood in the final episode, so the girls are trying to help. Because the saga is not, it doesn't mean saga as in like a story. Saga is the name of the prefecture or municipality, whatever it is, where they're from, because this guy with the sunglasses, he's trying to revitalize Saga, and that's why why he has this zombie group. Now, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Like, we don't know how the girls were resurrected. We don't know how this guy ended up getting all of them together. And it's super shady. Like, their manager is just like a complete sleazeball. There's a lot of uncomfortable questions with it, but this is a really fun series. And one of my favorites, and, all of my favorite episodes usually have the girls just doing something really mundane and normal. This is really difficult. So, like I said, this is just barely slice of life. Okay, it very nearly crosses the line because it is supernatural. It's not the only supernatural series we have here, but because it is kind of a weirdo outlier, I don't feel super confident putting it all the way up here. And I gotta be honest, I do think that during the second season, and even a little bit during the first season, there were a few episodes that I wasn't wild about. So it is a solid anime, but I think it has to go to Sata Andagi. Another supernatural series, yes, How to Keep a Mummy. This anime is fucking adorable. So this basically like features characters who are like taking care of like basically cryptids. They like discover them around their house slowly as the series goes on, and there's a mummy, and there's a Oni child, and so this is like a Japanese ogre thing, and then a dragon and a dream pig or something, and then an Anubis statue. It's a bit sitcom-y, but it's really cute and fun, and it is. I absolutely adore this. The mummy especially is just fucking adorable. Most of the episodes are mostly like very one-offy. So this one, again, I have to put this at the top rank. This is absolutely top shelf anime. One of my favorites. It's only one season. So it's not a very long series, but it is every single episode is worth watching. It is highly recommended. Really good anime. And also just to add, even though this anime has like supernatural elements, like the comedy and the reason I like watching it is just from the daily struggles that the characters like go through. So that's why I enjoy it so much. Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid. So this is multiple seasons long anime. This is a very popular one. If you've been around the anime crowds, you've probably heard about it. So this is about a bunch of dragons who take human form and live amongst humans. This one is probably, alongside Zombieland Saga, is the one that I had the hardest debate with myself. Does this count as slice of life? But you know what? That's the reason I watch it. I don't watch it for the supernatural things, and there are like battle scenes and things, but the whole point of the series is that these dragons just decide to bunk with the humans, just live everyday normal lives, and that's all that they want in life, and that's what the series is really about. Oh yeah, and there's Elma, was in my waifu tournament, you might remember. The only one that's missing here from this dragon lineup is Ilulu, who was in the most recent season. But this is a super high quality animation and just an incredibly cute series. There's 2 or 3 full seasons of this. I lost count now. And then there was at least one like mini season, like a season of mini, like really short, like 5-minute episodes. So there's a lot to sink your teeth into with this one. It's a very, very recommended high quality anime in my opinion. You know what? I'm getting a little bit antsy with this. Like, I don't feel great about this, but I'm gonna put it in the same rank as Zombieland Saga because this, there's a good argument to be made that this is not really slice of life. Okay, let's knock out the last of these sort of supernatural series out of here. So there's 2 more. Here it is. Interviews with Monster Girls. Okay, we're back into high school anime territory. So this anime is about this guy who is, I think, like the school biology teacher or something, and he's also a researcher, and he's interested in monster girls or girls who have supernatural abilities. And this high school that he works at has 1 teacher and then these 3 girls who have supernatural abilities. So there's a vampire, there's an ice woman, which is another Japanese folklore character, a Dullahan, and then a teacher who's also a succubus and who tries very hard to, keep her succubus powers in check. But this one is actually the most down-to-earth of these supernaturally inclined series, even more so than How to Keep a Mummy. And it's really cute, really high animation quality, and it's just I want to say like that every episode is excellent. There might be one that I'm forgetting that maybe is a little lukewarm, but like this is a really cute, chill series. Again, there's a little bit of a if thing here that you could argue that there is a slight rom-com-y component to this, because eventually it turns out that this teacher has a pretty obvious crush on the main guy, and also the Dullahan girl also very clearly has one as well. But they never really pursue those storylines in the series, so I'm willing to let it slide because it's not a core element. All right, and this next one I feel like I have to talk about now because, okay, I said K-On! Was the heir apparent to Azumanga, but actually there's another one that I've kind of used that same title for, and I do have to mention it, Nichijou. So I read the Nichijou manga when it was coming out in Finnish, but then the publisher abruptly just quit publishing it. I don't know the reason. Maybe it didn't sell well. That's entirely possible. Anyway, this is a 2-season anime, and it reminds me of Azumanga Daioh a lot. The style is very similar. And it is about, well, it's another high school anime, of course, but it has some slight elements, and it does have a slightly elevated sense of crazy with some of its comedy gags. But my personal favorites are just the normal but absurd things, like like the restaurant that serves food on this little trough that just throws it in the air or something. And then there's one of the girls is clearly a robot, as you can tell from the giant key on her back. So there's slight supernatural elements in it, but it has a very similar vibe to Azumanga, and that's why I really liked that original like comic. So I would say if you like Azumanga Daioh, and if you have an appetite for slightly more crazier comedy as well, then I highly recommend Nichijou. This is a top shelf anime, absolutely. Great gags, there's quite a bit more characters in this. There's a lot more, but there's a lot of episodes as well. So this is one of the most robust slice of life animes that you can find. It's honestly it's really really good. You know what? We've gotten this far and we still haven't. There's still one anime that I took this picture from. I think I have to now mention. I think I have to now talk about this Yuru Yuri. So. This is a 3-season slice of life anime, and this is, yeah, actually, yes, this is in the same mold as Asobi Asobase. This is about a group of girls, this main group of girls who have this time wasters club that they are using in the tea ceremony clubhouse because the school doesn't have a tea ceremony club anymore. But that's kind of secondary. This is this is like pretty pure slice of life. It, follows the girls' like everyday lives, finds comedy in all of them. It has a pretty robust set of running gags that they pull from. Toshino Kyoko is the main girl. I only remember her because the class president always announces it when she comes into the room because she's always mad at her, or she's possibly in love with her. That's the thing, Yuri, if you don't know, that's a genre name for, this is not Yuri. I think the title might be a little bit misleading, but a few of the girls are definitely, if not full-blown lesbian, that they're, definitely, curious in that direction. And this is Akari, who is the completely unmemorable lead character. That's the whole gag with her in the series. And frankly, especially it was during the second season, they did a lot of really mean-spirited comedy about that. You actually start to feel really bad for her as the show goes on. So it does have really good character dynamics. It has, it went on for 3 whole seasons. So there is actually a lot of stuff that the characters do in each one. I can't say that I was like emotionally invested in this series. And as much as that, I do appreciate that they had a lot of running gags and things. They clearly, they had clearly thought it through. I don't know if there was a comic of this. I assume there might have been. It's fine. If you like slice of life, I would certainly say that it's fine watching. But I can't say, as weird as it sounds for somebody who watched all 3 seasons of this, I just wasn't like super invested in it ever, really. So yeah, sorry about that. Here's another one that I wasn't entirely sure. Oh, sorry. I just noticed there was one more supernatural show. So. Interviews with Monster Girls was a big hit anime, and of course, with every big hit anime, there has to be a cheap knockoff, and this is it for Interviews with Monster Girls. It's A Centaur's Life. So, this is a little bit like Interviews with Monster Girls, except in this, everybody is a cryptid or supernatural creature of some kind. And here's the main cast of girls. This is missing my favorite character from this show, which is Quetzalcoatl-san, who's a snake girl. I really liked her. She was genuinely pretty cute and relatable. I really liked that. Now, on one hand, I kind of respect this series because it took its, this thing, the world has, a bunch of centaurs and things, and, mermaids. So they took that lore very seriously, and that the whole world had to be crafted around that. But at times, I think it got a little too lost in itself. At times I thought, are you seriously focusing this much on these minutiae details? Because they're not really that interesting. And that was my real main complaint. There's a lot of episodes that aren't, super haha funny. They kind of get a little lost. And also, I have to admit, there's a few episodes that, with these main girls that kind of made me feel a little bit like a dirty old man for watching it, so that felt a little uncomfortable. There's a whole World War II flashback episode that they do, and it never really gels as a series. I don't know what the vibe that this show is going for is supposed to be. Is it supposed to be cozy? Is it supposed to be serious? And at times, the animation quality could be like hot garbo. Like, there's a few middle episodes where it gets really bad. I watched the whole thing from start to finish. This is another Ocarine. Yeah. It's not, it just isn't especially great. Okay, let's get away from the high schoolers for a bit. Africa Salaryman. So, this is a series that is all about office workers who are also coincidentally animals. Focuses on the lion, the toucan, and the gecko guy, the lizard guy here. And this show is pretty buck wild. It goes all crazy bananas. And my favorite thing about this, it's actually kind of the same thing, ironically, as Centaur's Life. So it's actually good that I talked about this so close to each other. That here they take the fact that the characters are animals seriously, and they use it to build comedy. Like, the lion's challenges in life is, for instance, that he's a lion, and so every other character who's a smaller animal is afraid of him, and that's his lot in life. The real main character of the show, if you will, is Toucan. Toucan gets into all kinds of crazy shit, and he's honestly a bit of a shitbag, so that's the other thing. But I like this. Oh, and here's the murder hamsters. They're also a fun little recurring character. This is another one where it's almost a borderline case, but here again I'll allow it because all the plots, no matter how crazy, they always derive from like the mundane office life things, and that's the whole point of the series. I really like this anime. You know what? I'm not gonna apologize. I'm putting it here in the top rank. So I will recognize this series might not be for everybody. Okay, wait. I just remembered something. I will have to put it down one peg because some of the jokes in this series are a little gross. A running gag with the lizard is the fact that he keeps ripping off his tail to get out of doing stuff, and then like bleeds like a gallon of blood because of it. So. Same as with Asobi Asobase, I think I have to put a little asterisk on that. Aharen-san wa hakarenai, which I think is translated as Aharen-san is indecipherable. Okay, this is another borderline case because I think officially this is classified as a rom-com. But the main girl and the main guy get together like literally in the first episode, and the comedy derives from their everyday ridiculousness. Like Raido especially is like such a fucking space cadet. I love it. But then Reina or Aharen is just, it's just a super chat at everything, super talented and really fun. And one of my favorite comments about this, series was that this is what happens when two kudoras fall in love. If you don't know what that means, I'll maybe flash the definition on screen. And this is a great cast of characters. It's super cute. They did try to push the romance thing a little bit in the last couple of episodes of season 1. It felt a bit forced, so I wasn't a big fan of that. And I'm wondering, do I now drop it? Do I now have to drop it from top tier? Because I was seriously thinking of putting it up here because the second season is really good. Actually, I might even go so far as to say that the second season was better than the first season. You know what? It doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sure I'm forgetting right now that there are probably a few episodes of K-On! That I'm not a big fan of. I'm going to put it in the top tier. You can fight me if you like on that, but, I genuinely like it. I'll give you Sailor Uniform. Now, this is pretty much pure slice of life because this is all about, just high school life. Again. And not a lot happens in it, but the animation quality on this is fucking spectacular. That's the main reason to watch this. The animation quality is amazing. And also, I will say this I'm the kind of guy who usually skips the openings of animes because I genuinely don't really like most of them. The theme song to this is an absolute fucking banger. I highly recommend. If nothing else, check out the theme song. I can see why a lot of people might not like this, and I'm now thinking, if I was ranking this purely on the animation quality, this would be top rank. I think I have to put it here in TheHande only because there's really no story stakes or anything, and there are great characters in this. Don't get me wrong. You know what? There's a couple of more that I'm thinking of. You know what? I'm gonna hazard putting it. Fuck it. Let's put it up there. All right. Finally, we got away from the high schoolers a little bit. Barakamon. And actually, this reminds me of another anime that... yes, we'll talk about that immediately after this. So, this is about a calligraphy artist, that's this guy here, who flips his shit in a calligraphy contest, I think he punches like one of the judges, and then goes off to collect himself on an island in the middle of nowhere. So calligraphy is like a big, art dealio in Japan, and it's like this very revered and respected thing. So he's trying to get the inspiration back to get good at it, but then he gets these little kids breaking into his house and bothering him all the time. This is a really cute series. I thought this was an absolutely adorable series, and especially this main kid. Okay, I'm gonna just hazard that this was that it's a girl, but I'm not 100% sure. I don't think they ever commented on it. But this is such a cute series, and the Islanders are also like fun personalities as well. So this is a really good. This is a TheHande, and yeah. So the little girl's voice actress, I think, is super adorable. I loved her, and which is why this other series is also another one that I loved. So this is Sweetness and Lightning, or AKA Widow Dad Life. So this is a cooking anime more so than anything. So the guy is a widower, and he's having to take care of his daughter by himself. And he's not like a great cook. He's a pretty okay-ish cook. But then one of his students, who's this girl, decides that she wants to help him become a better cook. But she has a fear of knives. This is an absolutely fucking adorable series. And, we really get invested in this guy's struggles with having to, doing like single father things. And like I said, the little girl is goddamn adorable. My favorite episode is because they always cook at the student's house, like in the episode where the dad gets sick, she goes by herself to this girl's house, and that's why that episode is super adorable. This is a top rank anime. I think Barakamon is also pretty good, but Sweetness and Lightning is just on a different level. Here's another one I really like. I just remembered what this is. So Torari no Seki-kun. This is another one that I read. It's about this girl who sits next to Seki, who's this boy who's always doing some berserk project at his table in class, and somehow the teacher never notices, or he's able to hide it somehow. This is a really cute, funny anime. It's a slightly different take on a high school anime, because it's literally just about these two characters and all the insanity that ensues. Although there is one other girl who, because she is always trying to find ways to maybe rein in Seki's ridiculous things, she eventually gets like the wrong impression, like that they're like together or something. Yeah, but this is I read the manga to this as well. I really like it. It's not like an all-out perfect anime or anything. Is it bad that I kind of want to put I want to put so many up here, because because I can't think of like a single episode that I thought was bad. That's the thing. So because this was very faithful. The comic is not very long. I think there's like only 3 volumes. And I think they managed to pull an entire animated series out of that. Is actually pretty impressive. You know what? It is still, it doesn't. Okay, I'm gonna put it here. I really like the aesthetics and everything, but it's not like, it's maybe like, not like super, high top tier or anything. So I'll put it in TheHande for now. Cosplay Complex. This is a shit anime. I have a super old bottom 10 animes list. And this one is on there. It's only 3 episodes, and so I count this as slice of life because the point of this is the cosplay. It does have a slight supernatural element. I forgot about it. I should have probably mentioned that. So the main girl, who's this one with the pink hair, has a fairy. She likes to cosplay, but she's a shitty seamstress. So she has a magical space fairy who can luckily make costumes for her. This is a gross series. It is unapologetically gross and grody. It tries to, it goes for such lowbrow comedy. I honestly, and the thing is, it doesn't really work. Like you know, even if you are into that, this is just the bar is just so low on this one. And yeah, there's a romance subplot, but honestly, like, it's who fucking cares even? This is an absolute shit anime. Well, okay, I'll say it so much that this is at least so bad that you can kind of laugh at it, but you don't laugh at the jokes because they're funny. It's the complete opposite. So, yeah, no, I am putting it down here. Just never loved that. Never really cared for that one. Imoto Umoro-chan. Now, this one I have a hard time thinking about where to rank it because I like the characters, I like the jokes, but I have only watched the first season because the first season was on Crunchyroll, but then the second season was on some other streaming service that's not available to me. And the joke is that the main character has his little sister move in, and at home she's like a little gremlin who just makes a mess and just slobs around all day. But then she acts like a perfect girl outdoors. It's a really cute series, and like I said, I really like the characters and everything. But I think the TheHande is about as good as I can put it. And I really would want to, there's one character, there's one character plot arc especially that I was kind of interested in, which is why I would want to see the second season. But yeah, no, it doesn't look like I'll be able to see it. Oh boy, His and Her Circumstances, aka Karekano, aka I have a super old video of me ranting about this one. You could make an argument that this is supposed to be a romance, not even a rom-com, just a romance anime or romance manga because it was a comic originally. The romance story arc is like concluded in like 4 to 5 episodes, and then the rest of the series is about absolutely nothing. It is an absolutely just jaw-droppingly boring series about like couple stuff, or not really even couple stuff. And the most egregious thing about this, there's 2 things that really piss me off. One is that in the middle of it's a single season anime, and in the middle of single season, they suddenly have recaps of like what happened during the first half of the series. For no reason. There is absolutely no reason for that. And then the final episode, there's nothing special that even happens there. Like, I know that this was a manga that was not finished at the time when they started making the anime. And usually when that happens, like the studio then comes up with some kind of bullshit final episode that has maybe its own little one-off story that concludes and it feels very rewarding and things. They didn't bother doing it for this. This is absolute garbo. It is inexcusably bad, and I'm even hard pressed to say that it's actually a slice of life because there's so little to it. There isn't even a slice. It's barely a slice. It's a sliver. That's how I feel about that one. So yeah, absolute bottom rank, no questions asked. Is the Order a Rabbit? Okay, I fucking adore this series. It's about a bunch of girls who are running a coffee shop. These 3 girls specifically. And then there's a lot of tertiary characters. It's super cute. There's 3 seasons of it. And unfortunately, the first 2 seasons are no longer on Crunchyroll, which fucking sucks because they only have the 3rd season, which is the worst one. And the problem with the 3rd season was the fact that they tried to shoehorn every single character. Like, this is a series that's definitely eventually suffers from a bit of character bloat. Those first 2 seasons are super funny and cute. The volleyball episode from season 1 is one of my all-time favorites, and then the camping episodes in season 2 are excellent as well. Yeah, so, and this is an anime that I just completely kind of randomly landed upon one time. So literally what happened was that me and my brother-in-law, we were playing Crunchyroll lottery, and I think the thing was like, he asked me a letter, and I think I said I, and then we just picked some anime that started with the letter I, and we landed on this one. But this is a really, really cute and hot, great series. Because of that, I really do want to put it in the top. But because of everything I just said about the third season of this, I think I have to put it in TheHande, because the first 2 seasons are absolutely top notch. Okay, there's maybe 1 or 2 episodes in those seasons that I don't like. So okay, now I feel a little better. Yeah, TheHande, this is a good anime. I personally like it. It may not be for everybody. It might be a little too cutesy for some people. But it is, but it's also super funny. Kakushigoto, okay. This is an anime that I don't really talk about much, and that's probably because I can't pronounce the name, or I don't remember it. This is a great anime. Highly recommended. This is going to the top tier. So, it's again single dad, single dad life. I love the art style in this. It has a very distinct style that I like. And the premise of this series is that the guy is a manga artist who draws like a very kind of a lowbrow gag manga and doesn't want her daughter to find out about it, so he pretends that he's just a salaryman and then does salaryman things or tries to put on these airs about it. This is a super cute series, honestly quite moving in places. Like the final story arc is really good. I have to put this at the top rank. This is highly recommended. If you have not watched it, I highly recommend it. Okay, I skipped another one. Okay, so keep your hands off Eizouken. This is actually a little bit like K-On! For animators, but it doesn't really follow that format. The theme song for this one is an absolute banger as well. Like I actually watched the intro to this one every single time because it was so goddamn catchy. Animation quality wise, this is fantastic. It's obviously it's taken a lot of inspiration from Studio Ghibli, and for a TV anime to really focus on that and try to make itself look like a Ghibli movie is pretty impressive. So it's about these guys trying to make an animated film for a student festival or something. Now the problem with this anime is the second half. I think the story gets kind of diluted as it goes along. There's no real climax or reward. It kind of I don't know what. Again, this is another anime. I don't know what vibe they were going for. And I feel like they kind of went for vibing's sake, if that makes sense. So, I was really invested in the first couple of episodes, and I really liked the characters, but at the end of the day, it didn't really feel like it. It's not bad, but it kind of drops off at the end, really. So that's why it goes here into the Akarin rank. All right, then we're up to Lucky Star. And hot take time, I don't like Lucky Star at all. So, and I did read the comic as well, but this, Lucky Star, there are some fun gags in it, so don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that there's nothing good about it. My favorite in the anime was at the end of the episode, there was the lady who was trying to be super upbeat and energetic, and then whenever somebody asks her like a real question, she suddenly drops the facade and she's like very crouchy and things. Yeah, I just don't like any of the characters very much. And yeah, so I don't really get anything out of this series, frankly. So now I'm only trying to decide, does it go to Akarin or does it go all the way to the bottom rank? You know what, I think there are enough like single gags here that I don't think it's quite in the same category as awful as these three, so I'll spare it from the bottom rank, but I have never really liked Lucky Star at all. I think it is decidedly very mid. Now we have My Wife Has No Emotion, or I Married a Kitchen Appliance. This is a super cute series. And you know, my favorite things about this are all the silly shit that happens to Mina, who's the robot wife in this scenario. So like when she goes out and runs out of energy all of a sudden, or when she goes to the grocery store and she gets lost because her her GPS stops working. Like there's a lot of really cute shit in this. I can understand that this series might not be for everybody, but I think it's a really adorable anime overall. There are a couple of kind of slower moments of this anime that I wasn't really like maybe a super fan of. I do think it's a super adorable series, but I think I have to put it here in the Saga Antaki. But it is a really good one, and you know, if they make a second season of this, I will definitely watch the hell out of that. All right, and here is New Game, which is about a game development studio which only hires women. So at least we're in an office setting for once and not in a high school. And the reason for this is the reason in lore explanation for why this game studio only hires women is because the president apparently just likes girls. That's pretty much the reason. This is a really cute and funny anime. I absolutely love these characters. Yeah, and I even like the fact that there was a little bit of conflict in the second season with a few of them, which is really great. I don't think this is absolutely maybe in the absolute top rank of anime out there of slice of life anime. It is definitely a very novel setting, I will say. There aren't a lot of slice of life anime that I can think of off the top of my head that are about like a game studio. There are a lot that have to do with gaming. Shockingly, but yeah, so I do love the comedy and the setups. There's maybe a couple of slower episodes in the second season. I'm gonna put this in Sata Antaki. It's a solid anime, highly recommended for that. All right, and finally, School Babysitters. The story of this one actually kind of has a kind of tragic beginning. So the main guy Ryu and his little brother Kotaru are orphaned. They're taken in by the headmistress of this high school, who decides to, you know, let them live under her house and then also study at the school, obviously. But in addition to that, the school, for some reason, has a daycare center, or, you know, a daycare. And the students have to take turns taking care of the babies. And I think this series is absolutely goddamn adorable. The babies and the adults are all great characters. Kotaro is a goddamn cutie pie, but also the absolute top wingman, because his big brother Ryu kind of eventually. I mean, this is technically not a rom-com because there is a girl. She's missing from this picture. There's this super strict girl who kind of begins to have feelings for him, and then Kotaru kind of helps the cause a little bit. But yeah, I also love all the other great characters. This instantly became one of my favorite animes the first time I watched it, so I have no compunction about it. So it is a high school anime again, sorry, but it is a high school anime with a twist. So it's a little bit special, and I have to put it at the top rank because I goddamn love it. It is an absolutely adorable anime. And that's the ranking. Very top heavy, as you can see. I had a lot of fun with this. And tell me in the comments, what are your favorite slice of life animes? And maybe, you know, throw in a few recommendations. I'm always up for some new recommendations for slice of life animes. So I'm TheHande, and see you on the next one.